afternoon to one and all. Today we are going to start the connective tissue. As we all know, for class 9 standard we have started the chapter tissue. Today we will start connective tissue. Now the connective tissue is having three main parts, namely connective tissue proper, skeletal tissue and vascular tissue. Now we will start with connective tissue proper. So first of all, in connective tissue proper we need to know that how many parts are there. There are 4 parts, namely areolar tissue, adipose tissue, tendons and ligaments. Now what is this connective tissue proper? The connective tissue proper is made up of 3 things: matrix, connective tissue cells and tissue fiber. Matrix, connective tissue cells and tissue fibers. Now first of all we will talk about matrix. What is matrix? As discussed earlier also, matrix is the network of row and column. Matrix is the network of row and column. But when we are talking about connective tissue, in the connective tissue we can find the matrix is non-living and jelly-like structure is present in this row and column. Certain jelly-like structure will be present in this row and column. Now these jelly-like of structure present in the matrix of the connective tissue makes it very much flexible, as well as the jelly-like structure present in the matrix of the connective tissue depends. Means as much as the content, more is the flexibility of the connective tissue. Means more the content of the matrix in the connective tissue, and in the connective tissue more the content of the matrix as well as the jelly-like fluid in the matrix, the connective tissue will be more flexible. That's the reason why in the connective tissue we can find this jelly-like structure, so as to make it flexible. Now talking about connective tissue cells, these connective tissue cells are actually the minute cells found around the matrix itself. But these connective tissue cells are living. I said earlier that matrix is non-living, but this connective tissue cells which is found around the matrix of the connective tissue are generally living. These cells are generally living. It allows the cell to rebuild and repair. Now it allows the connective tissue cells, allows the connective tissue as well as the connective tissue proper to rebuild and to repair, as well as the cell itself to rebuild and repair. Now next one is tissue fiber. This tissue fiber is actually the group of dead cells. Tissue fiber is actually the group of dead cells which forms the tissue. It makes the connective tissue very much hard and tough. Very much hard and tough. So this is what a general introduction about the connective tissue. Now the connective tissue is having various parts, as I have said earlier: areolar tissue, adipose tissue, tendons and ligaments. Areolar tissue, adipose tissue, tendons and ligaments. 4 parts. One by one we shall see. First one is the areolar tissue. What is areolar tissue? Areolar tissue means the tissue which is having lots of spaces within itself. Means the areolar tissue is generally made up of white collagen fiber and yellow elastin fiber. Here we need to understand what is white collagen fiber and what is yellow elastin fiber. Collagen and elastin are actually a kind of protein. White collagen fiber is very much tough. It does not gives a lot of flexibility. But yellow elastin fiber is tough as well as it is giving lot of flexibility. So areolar tissue is made up of white collagen fiber and yellow elastin fiber. White collagen fiber and yellow elastin fiber are present in a network kind of structure. White collagen fiber and yellow elastin fiber are present in a network kind of structure, thereby leaving some minute intercellular spaces. Minute intercellular spaces within the areolar tissue. And that's the reason why making the areolar tissue very much loose. Where these tissues are present, these tissues are generally found in skin and in bone marrow. Especially in the cavity of the intestine also, in the cavity of the esophagus also, this tissue is mainly found. Apart from this, this tissue is called as packaging tissue also. Why this tissue is called as packaging tissue? Because it is found in the cavity of the hollow organs also. For example, in the gallbladder also it is found. In the spaces of the kidney also it is found. Means the delicate organ also these tissues are present. That is why it is packaging tissue, because it is filling those spaces. Cavity means what? A small space. So there, these tissues are found to fill those small spaces. Apart from this, this also forms the dermis layer of the skin. What is the dermis layer of the skin? After the epidermis, this one is the epidermis. The outer layer of the skin is the epidermis. Inside the epidermis, we are having the dermis. So in the dermis layer of the skin also, this areolar tissue is found. So I hope it's clear to you, areolar tissue. Now, next is adipose tissue. What is adipose tissue? Adipose tissue means the tissue of fat. In adipose tissue, we can find the cells adipocytes. Adipocytes means the whole tissue is made up of these cells known as adipocytes. The group of adipocyte forms the adipose tissue. Now, it is generally found in blood vessels and kidneys. In the blood vessels as well as in the kidneys it is found. Apart from this, the adipose tissue stores the fat. That's why it is known as storehouse of fat. Now, fat is providing two things for us. What? At first instance, it will provide energy to our body in the absence of carbohydrate. And in the second instance, it will give a protection from the shock to the delicate organs. For example, some kind of fat is deposited on the kidney or on the liver. Then in accidental cases or in some traumatic cases, these adipocytes or the adipose tissue will help the organ not to get any damage. That is the reason why it is very much important in our body. So it's a shock absorber also. Now, apart from this, the adipocyte cells are present like this, with a round structure, with the oval or round structure like this. But one cell is different from one cell is separated from the other cell by the help of the globules. By the help of the globules. The globules is such a structure, though it is round, but at the same time, the presence of the globule make one cell separate from the other cell in the adipose tissue. Globule. Globule means it is not a sheath. I repeat, it is not a sheath. It is also means the round structure of the adipocyte cell. But at the same time, the round structure are in such a way that it will be separating one cell from the other cell in the adipose tissue. So, I hope it's clear to you. Now, so where the adipose tissue is basically present in the kidneys as well as in the blood vessels. Now, coming to the important point, that is the tendons. That is the tendons. Now, what are tendons? Tendons connects muscle to bone. Tendons basically connects muscle to bone. Muscle to bone means skeletal muscle will be connected with the bone by the help of the tendons. Now, these tendons are inelastic white fibrous tissue. Means they are made up of inelastic white fibrous tissue known as collagen. Means though it is a protein, collagen is a protein, but it is present in the form of fiber. But though it is fiber, it is not as much elastic as we are thinking of. It is not at all elastic. It is having a small amount of elasticity, but not a greater amount, not a remarkable amount. We cannot call it as it is having a remarkable amount of elasticity. So what is the function of the tendon? It will connect the muscle to the bone. And since it is connecting the muscle to the bone, that's why it is very much tough and inelastic and made up of white collagen fiber. So it is non-flexible, not at all flexible it is. It is having no stretchability. Very minute stretchability it is having, very minute stretchability. So the fracturing of tendons are very much normal for the sportsmen. People, those who are doing some hard work or rigorous activities, or they are sports personalities. So they are having chances of breakage of the tendon. Now, in the tendon, the presence of fibroblast is there. These fibroblasts are actually the cells, small fibrous cells. But these cells are so much vital that it will not allow any stretchability. These cells are very much vital, very important for the proper manufacturing of the tendons, for the proper growth of the tendons, for the proper development and production of the tendons in the body. Fibroblast is very necessary, very important point. Presence of fibroblast. These fibroblasts are though minute cells, but at the same time they are very much closer to each other. So there is no intercellular spaces. No intercellular spaces means no loosening. It will not loose. It will not at all become very much loose. Very much tight it is. So that's the reason why the tendons are very much tight. It is having no stretchability because there is no intercellular spaces. Now, apart from this, the tendons specially holds the muscle and muscle holds the bone. So when we are moving our muscles, somewhere the bones are also moving. Bones are also showing some kinds of movement, certain kind of movement. Now, moving to the next. Ligaments. Ligaments connects bone to bone. Two bones will be connected together by the help of the ligament. Tendons connects muscle to bone. Ligament will connect bone to bone. And it is made up of yellow elastin fiber. From the name itself, the meaning can be inferred that presence of elasticity is there. Presence of elasticity is there. Yellow elastin fibers. It is made up of yellow elastin fiber which gives elasticity. Means the ligaments are more stretchability, or it is more stretchable than the tendons. Ligaments having more stretchability than tendons. Means ligaments are more stretchable. Now, they are having good elasticity. Good elasticity means the elasticity, the stretching property, the rubber property of the ligaments are more as compared to that of tendons. And one more point, it is having less fibroblast. Less fibroblast. Fibroblast cell is less. Less fibroblast means automatically we can infer the stretchability is much better than the tendons. So I hope it's clear to you. Now, one more point here, a technical word I would like to discuss with you. A word is there. I'm just rubbing few parts of it. I hope you can understand this properly. Now, one more thing I would like to discuss to you today. It's a technical thing. It is known as a rigor mortis. R-I-G-O-R, rigor mortis. M-O-R-T-I-S, rigor mortis. Don't think that it is some organ or something. It is not an organ. It's actually a symptom. Symptom after dying. So many people of you might be thinking that after the death, what is the symptom in the body? Of course, in rigor mortis, what happens? Some muscles during the death or during the time when the person is dying, that time some muscles contracts. And due to lack of ATP formation, because after death there is no energy formation in the body. Due to lack of ATP in the body, that contracted muscle can never be relaxed. Contracted muscles can never be relaxed. So what happens? The muscles, contracted muscles along with the other muscles, due to lack of ATP or due to lack of energy in the body, keeps on contracting. It will start from the lower jaw. That is this part where I am touching. It starts from the lower jaw, and slowly within 4 to 6 hours, whole body will have tight. Whole body will become tight. Whole body will receive a tight condition. Whole body will receive a tight condition. So what will happen? The muscle keeps on contracting. The muscles keep on contracting due to the lack of energy, and the contracted muscle during the time of death, due to lack of ATP, will remain in contracting position. And slowly, due to lack of ATP, each and every muscles within 4 to 6 hours after the death of a person, whole body will contract, and that's the reason why the body, a dead body, becomes very much stiff after 4 to 6 hours of death. We cannot prevent this process as it's a very natural process. So this word known as rigor mortis, R-I-G-O-R-M-O-R-T-I-S, rigor mortis. So I hope you can understand this video. Go through the text, match it with the video, and learn it well. Thank you.